Hi there and welcome to Unwana Udoh. We're back with part 2 of Rags to Riches. Hope you liked the first one, and if you did, we're sure you'll enjoy this one too. Rags to Riches stories are meant to motivate and inspire you. They show you that anybody can achieve their dreams no matter how much money their parents had in the bank account when they were younger or how many dead-end jobs they had to work in order to pay the rent. No matter how ambitious, driven, or disciplined you are, we all have days when we need a little extra kick to get up and make it happen. The good news is, it's never too late to become a success story. The stories coming up will show you the limitless possibilities available when you work to make it happen. Sylvia Bloom was a secret millionaire who lived modestly and took the subway to work at Old Street law firm where she was a secretary. Responsible for managing her boss's stock investments, she carefully observed his decisions and mirrored them with smaller investments of her own. Bloom continued working for the same law firm for 67 years and passed away shortly afterward in 2016. Over time, she built a fortune that was spread among 3 brokerage houses and 11 banks. Bloom was frugal but not cheap. For example, she dressed well and even owned a fur coat. The fur coat she owned, though, was a reasonable Persian lamb and not a top-price ermine. When Sylvia passed away in 2016, she was worth $9 million and left $8.2 million of that money to charity. Upon her passing, even her closest friends and family were shocked to learn of Bloom's fortune. She spent a lifetime reinvesting dividends instead of spending the profits from her investments. Sylvia and her husband, a firefighter, could easily have been living on Park Avenue, but instead chose to stay in a rent-controlled apartment. The story of Sylvia Bloom is an unusual one, largely because deferred profits over a lifetime is not an easy thing to do. The law firm of Cleary, Gottlieb, Steen and Hamilton, where Grace worked for 67 years, went on to become one of the most successful law firms in the world. The New York law firm is now well known for advising nations who are having trouble paying their debts. This American industrialist, the founder of Carnegie Steel, a company that produced more steel than all of Great Britain at one point, was born to a poor handloom weaver in Scotland. He grew up in poverty, living in a one-room house, often sleeping to forget the misery of hunger. To fight starvation, his family migrated to the US. His first job was at age 13 as a bobbin boy, changing spools of thread in a cotton mill 12 hours a day, 6 days a week in a Pittsburgh cotton factory. In his spare time, he would read works of Robert Burns and historical Scottish heroes like Robert the Bruce, William Wallace, and Rob Roy. His next job was a telegraph messenger boy. A true entrepreneur, he was a hard worker and soon was promoted as an operator. Colonel James Ellison, who opened his personal library of 400 volumes to working boys each Saturday night, gave a good boost to Carnegie's education and passion for reading. He did a series of railroad jobs. There, he learned about the industry and business in general. It was during this stint that he began making investments in steel and oil companies that earned him huge returns. By 1889, Carnegie Steel Corporation was the largest of its kind in the world. He went on to become the richest man in the world. Known as one of builders of America who helped shape the nation, in 1901, he sold Carnegie Steel to J.P. Morgan for $480 million and became a philanthropist. He donated millions to the New York Public Library, established the Carnegie Institute of Technology in Pittsburgh, which is now known as Carnegie Mellon University, created the Carnegie Foundation for the Advancement of Teaching, and formed the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. Remember, the journey began in a one-room weaver's cottage in Dunfermline. Larry Ellison was born in New York City to an unwed Jewish mother. His father was an Italian-American U.S. Air Force pilot. According to Wikipedia, Ellison contracted pneumonia when he was 9 months old, and his mother gave him to her aunt and uncle for adoption. His adoptive mother was warm and loving, while his adoptive father was unsupportive and distant. He was a bright but inattentive student. He left the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign after his second year, without taking his final exams because his adoptive mother had just died. Later, he attended the University of Chicago for 1 term, where he first encountered computer design. In 1966, aged 22, he moved to Northern California. In 1977, he founded Software Development Laboratories, or SDL, with 2 partners and an investment of $2,000. In 1982, the company became Oracle Systems Corporation after its flagship product, the Oracle Database. Currently, Ellison owns stakes in Salesforce.com, NetSuite, Quark Biotechnology Inc., and Astex Pharmaceuticals. In September 2011, Ellison was listed on the Forbes list of billionaires as the 5th richest man in the world. Ellison is still the 3rd richest American, with a net worth of about $36.5 billion. This Hong Kong business magnate, investor and philanthropist is the richest person in Asia, with a net worth of $31.9 billion according to the Bloomberg Billionaires Index. After his father's death, he was forced to leave school to support his family before he turned 15. He found work at a plastics trading company where he labored 16 hours a day. After years of backbreaking work, he was able to start his own company, Hong Kong Industries. Today, Lee's businesses cover almost every facet of life in Hong Kong, from electricity to telecommunications, from real estate to retail, from shipping to the internet. The Hong Kong Group operates in 55 countries and employs over 260,000 staff worldwide. If you haven't heard of the people mentioned before, we're quite sure you might know of this guy. A world away from the glitz and glamour of his life as one of history's greatest ever footballers, Cristiano Ronaldo was just a boy from Madeira, Portugal. The icon has shared stories of his modest upbringing, devoid of toys and Christmas presents, sharing a room with 3 of his siblings. Not until he signed for Manchester United in 2003 would he set foot on an airplane. Ronaldo's humble beginnings certainly did him well in the pursuit of excellence. He has admitted to only thinking he was good enough to play football semi-professionally as a teenager. Ronaldo became one of the highest paid footballers in the world and has won 5 Ballon d'Ors and 4 European Golden Shoes, both of which are records for any European player. Beloved in Montevideo, Luis Suarez spent the first years of his life in Salto, playing shoeless football in the streets. Not until he was 7, driven by his father's unemployment, did the former Liverpool striker move along with his 6 siblings to the Uruguayan capital. Suarez's family was often unable to furnish him with boots to play with, while his father left the family behind when the Barcelona star was only 12. He struggled for focus during formative days at Nacional after falling in with a rough crowd. But Suarez has credited the hardships he faced as a youngster for fueling his desire to succeed in football. Suarez went on to become one of the most feared strikers in the world, scoring 59 goals for his country and numerous goals for clubs like Liverpool and Barcelona. Though Steve Jobs is now exalted as one of the greatest minds in modern history, he came from humble beginnings. Jobs' young, working-class parents struggled to support him and make ends meet. He was soon taken in by another couple, Paul and Clara Jobs. Jobs was fascinated by computers even at a young age. However, Jobs never liked formal education. After dropping out of college after his first semester, he started working at a video game manufacturing company called Atari. A while later, Jobs created the first ever Apple machine together with Steve Wozniak. The duo funded their entrepreneurial venture through untraditional avenues at first. Jobs sold his Volkswagen bus and Wozniak sold his beloved scientific calculator. By age 23, Jobs was worth $1 million. He was the youngest person on Forbes' list of the country's richest people at the time. No small feat without inheriting any family wealth. He made $10 million by age 24 and crossed the 100 million mark by the time he was 25. Before he passed away at the age of 56 in 2011, he was reportedly worth $10.2 billion. If you like our channel, don't forget to subscribe to Unwana Udoh. We have a lot more interesting videos coming up for you, so make sure to check out our channel for them.